Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. On Fridays, we talk about the product owner role in Scrum. We talk about patterns and anti-patterns that relate to ours and the team's collaboration with the product owner. And we've also put together a course to help you navigate that relationship. There's 18 modules, nearly 8 hours of tools, techniques, videos, handouts, presentations you can use to help you and your team work better with your product owner. The course is available at bit.ly/coach-your-PO. All lowercase, all one word. That's bit.ly/coach-your-PO. And now, on to the show, the Product Owner Show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our TGIF and Product Owner episode this week with Jill Stott. Hey, Jill, welcome back.
Hey, Vasco. Hey, everybody. It's our last day here. I'm going to miss you, Vasco.
Likewise, and I'm sure our listeners are going to miss your energy and the voices. I love the voices. I hope you use that with the teams because that's...
What voices?
That's
Am I doing
perfect.
voices?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize I was doing
Very well, I might add.
Oh,
Very
my.
well.
Oh, my. Now I'm self-conscious.
One of my favorite podcast hosts, Leo Laporte, does a lot of voices in his shows.
Oh.
And I find that such a great addition. I wish I could do the same.
You should try it.
Maybe I should. All right, cool. So let's dive into the messy universe of product ownership. We'll talk about a great product owner in a minute, but for now, do share with us, Jill, what was potentially the worst product owner you've ever worked with. How did they do the product owner role?
All right. So it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick just one. And with a caveat, they weren't bad people. They were good people, but bad product owners. So I have a lot of examples, but this one, this stands out to me. So it was a product owner who wasn't empowered or confident to make any decisions, was never available. And I think the worst part was very undefined, unclear requirements. And it got to the point where she would yell at the team. We would be discussing a user story and we would have these questions. She didn't know the answer, right? Well, part of it wasn't just her fault. She was getting pressure from above and they didn't know what the hell they're doing. And we could say, well, we need to know what we're doing. And she said, just do it. So of course we would try to build it and it was the wrong thing. And it was kind of like, here, is this what you wanted? No. What about this? What about this? She didn't have a clear understanding of what the heck the customers wanted, what was the highest priority, and how to do that. And we had a couple of different teams that were working. And one of the teams, they were based in India, and they were a contract team. So it's really hard to push back, right, when you are a contractor in some cases, because you have your bosses, right? Yeah, just keep the client happy so we can make billions of dollars. And us in the US working for the company, we were more than happy to push back and complain. But this group of individuals weren't, and they were so frustrated. So that they went to their bosses and they talked with one of our bosses. And it worked at the time. So they ended up in the tool we were using, it was Rally, creating a step for all of those teams within that group. Before you could say this user story is ready in your backlog refinement, there were all these criteria, and then you had to vote, and it had to be a 4 or a 5 in order to say, yes, this is ready, which sounds like a lot of extra overhead. But that's the construct we had to do because this product owner just couldn't accept this is what we need to do before we can say, yes, we can commit to doing this in the next couple of sprints. And then when we have teams who aren't comfortable speaking up, we had to have this extra construct. Fortunately, it took a couple of years, things changed and we were able to get rid of that metric because we were more comfortable talking. But it was a bear, and we wasted, I'm not kidding, millions of dollars doing the wrong thing.
Absolutely. And when it comes to the product owner role, you just gave a great example of how crucial the role is for the rest of the organization to perform. Because a simple thing like not knowing what good is or what done is for a particular requirement, it might just grind the whole organization to a halt, right? Because we don't know what to do, and whatever we produce is not the right thing, because of course the team isn't the expert at knowing what the customers need. The product owner is supposed to be the expert in that domain. And when you think about it, is there something like a tip, an idea, an advice you have for our Scrum Masters that may be dealing with a similar product owner at this time?
So, and one, it's in that scenario, this person did not want to even have a conversation. There was so much bad blood. So I think looking back, what would I have done differently? I think I probably would have worked not just with this person, but she had a group of people. Just have a meeting with everybody. Hey, what's driving you crazy? What are your pain points? And then not just fix the system for the team, but I know she was just going crazy. She was working crazy hours. I'm here for you, rather than saying, here's what you're doing wrong. I think that would be it. That you can't really get very far until you've let down your guard a little bit, all these different roles, and say, okay, here's our common goal. We might not love each other, but here's how we can work together to make it better for everybody, including our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Get to a point where you're both working in the same direction. No matter how hard it is, it's always going to be better than if you're working cross purposes.
Yes, and defining what is that direction and kind of keeping you on track, because it's easy like, let's go over here. No, let's go over here. Having a rudder. Is it rudder? The coxswain, who's the guy who says, go straight.
So, Jill, that was an example of a bad product owner. But of course, we also have examples of great product owners, and that's the one we want to explore now. So share with us the best product owner you've ever worked with. How did they do the product owner role?
So I have a couple. I'm gonna pick. Her name was Angela, and she had never heard of Scrum. They brought her in new and Agile, and we were like, oh, it was that UI toolkit team, and she learned as quickly as she could to understand it. And she was working with my manager at the time, and the fact that she was able to understand and learn and grow and take feedback from us, like, hey, so this is what we need from you. Here's what we need from you. And she would join our retrospectives, and she was super open-minded. And one example of her ability to be flexible and learn and change was, so at the end of every, what was it? I don't know. We weren't doing safe, but it's after every couple of months, our manager said, hey, the team needs a break. So we're going to take 1 week. We're not going to have them do anything. We're going to have them just work on whatever they want. This is before I even heard it safe. And Angela was like, a little bit nervous about doing that because they need to be working this stuff. And so she said, well, okay, let's try it, which I love that. Let's just try it. If it doesn't work, we won't do it. Let's do an experiment. And she was like, let's have the team work on whatever they want. And then my only request is at the end of that week, each person will demo or explain what they explored, what they researched, what they built. And it was so great. It was so great. And so the first time I was a part of that, I had I can't remember what I did. I was researching some stuff, and here's some things that I learned. And then the developer, my favorite developer, Clint, he's like, I found these new tools that we can use. He did a little quick demo, and all the developers like, that's awesome. That's going to make it so much easier to implement X, Y, and Z. And Angela's just like, this is so cool. It was like the best thing ever. And just that flexibility and her willingness to try something different, but still having an accountability. Us showing, and we loved the show and tell, honestly. And I think that to me was like, yes, I love this person and her willingness to be available. So you probably all work with product owners are so busy. If you look at our calendar, it's insane. And you have a question or you want to demo something you just finished and you could never get a hold of her. Angela was always willing to drop something, push a meeting back to meet with someone from the team who had a question. I love that about her. I miss her. Angela.
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody listening to this already misses Angela, even though they've never worked with her. I really like that the example of letting the team explore something because obviously it might be for some listening a lost sprint. But here's the thing. What if the team finds something that helps the product owner in the future and maybe even creates new things that are possible for the product that were not possible before? And you go like, that's a huge win. The cost is so little, it's one sprint, and the benefit could be so high. Not only the motivation and engagement of the team, and I do love the show and tell at the end, because first it implements the idea that Scrum has, right? Like show what you have done, but also it creates the opportunity for the product owner to go like, I like this. What if we add this to this part of the product, right?
Yes. And then we're seeing that. And usually those conversations, the product owner isn't there, when they're having those more of a technical thing, maybe. And yet sometimes it was ideas for the product, but a lot of it was just how to make it easier for us, to do our jobs and more effective. And sometimes ideas that we had, and sometimes Angela was like, customers don't want that. Oh, okay, cool. That's okay, because we didn't know. Yeah, but if we didn't have the conversation, then we would either just sneak it in and waste everybody's time. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And it is also a big part, the team being seen, right? Like doing things they consider important and being seen as important in the whole process of delivering value to our customers.
Yes, and having that forum and each individual, and sometimes they would pair up, have a space on the stage. And not just Angela was there, but our manager would always attend as well. And you're right, and having that voice and not just having the Scrum Master do the talking, the product owner doing the talking, it was very powerful.
Absolutely. Jill, it's been a pleasure to have you here this week. We're getting close to the end, but before we do go, how can people find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
Oh, thank you for asking. So I recently started my own business as an Agile coach and trainer, and I'm learning as I go, like I always do, but it is called Astada. So let me spell that. ASTOTTA. Yes, it has the name Stott and has an A in the front and an A in the back. I just published my website. You can check that out. And I do love these podcasts, Vasco. So thank you. You can see my podcast on my YouTube channel as well. And if you just want to talk to me, this is so fun for me. I'm alone in my home and I miss people. I miss the water cooler, Vasco. So anytime you want to chat, just give me a call.
Absolutely. I'll take that because I too miss the water cooler.
I do.
Absolutely. So please do send me all of those links so I can put them in the show notes for everybody listening. The links will be in the show notes so that you can easily find the website, the YouTube channel, and of course, Jill's LinkedIn page as well, so that you can, why not, continue the conversation over LinkedIn. Jill, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you, Vasco. This was really fun, and I appreciate your insights too. It helped me see things in another way that I hadn't before. Well done, sir.
One more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast is over, but there's a lot more we have to share. We have developed our own membership site where you find a community of active and engaged Scrum Masters. In this site, you get access to exclusive content and get to interact with us, your podcast hosts, as well as the best Scrum Masters in the world. Join us at scrummastertoolbox.com/podcast and keep this podcast free of advertising. See you next week for one more week full of Scrum Master tips and tricks. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.